Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that very warm introduction. I feel that when you get such a warm introduction as that, and you get a nice applause, then you should leave. It's a real pleasure to be here. You have no idea what a great pleasure it is to join you this evening in CHIOS. It's raining in London. But it's a wonderful gathering, a wonderful festival that you bring so many people for these, well, I might say, deep conversation, really important conversations. As has been said, that I am a head of a Cambridge College, Homerton College, but I'm also a parliamentarian. I was ennobled in 2019 into the House of Lords as a crossbench peer, and before that I was knighted by Her Majesty the Queen. Actually, as a matter of fact, the way that life is, a kid from a poor background, fast forward, and Her Majesty the Queen has me on one knee with a sword in her hand. Careful, Mum. and she knighted me. I have to say that I was the last knight that she knighted, because after that there was COVID, and she did no. The Queen's last night. But that's my titles. Actually, if you were to ask me who I really am, what I really do, you know what I would say? I'm an activist. An activist in the same vein as my superhero, Dr. Martin Luther King. You know the great man, Dr. King, had a wonderful dream. This is important in today's conversation. He had a dream that I would not be judged by the color of my skin, but by the content of my character. But you know, Dr. King had more than a dream. He had a plan. And his plan was first to take African Americans and say that we should not ask for justice. We should not ask for decency or kindness or respectability. We should demand it. And we should use the democratic process to demand that we are respected. I followed him as a disciple, not to ask for justice, not to ask for decency, but to demand it. And for 30 years, I've used all my energy, all my passion to transform our institutions. That's why I must say, as an activist, I very much notice my kindred spirits of other activists. The thing about being an activist is you get things done. It's not just about speaking, although speak we can. It's also about doing. I want to pay tribute, before I start my real remarks, on those that have brought us here together, because they've done. I would like Nanita, where are you? Where are you, Nanita? Whose house it is? Where is she? Nanetta. Where is she? Could you ask her to come forward? Are you at the back? Please come forward. Please come forward. Give her a round of applause. I love activists. Hold on to that thought. And the other activist who I spoke with last night, and she was worried. You know, the next activist that I want us to applaud was having dinner last night, and I said, how do you feel about this wonderful event? She said, Simon, I'm anxious, I'm scared. I said, what are you scared about? You know what she said to me? I'm worried that people won't show up. Dimitra, can you come forward too? Please, 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 please. Please come forward. You know, I love, as Dr. King is my hero, I love female activists who too often men talk. Too often men talk. It's our women that do. And in doing that, we should not only acknowledge them, but also learn from them. The real deal is doing. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. The last person I want to thank is a dear friend of mine. This time last year I had a dinner in Cambridge, and I was talking Martin Luther King style about changing the world, and he said, "Oh, Simon, you know, one of these days I've got to bring you to Greece, CHIOS. I'm here because of him, and I want to pay tribute to him." Thanos, please stand up. Please stand up, Thanos.
Sorry.
Thank you. The honor is mine. Well, look, that was a very light conversation we had about world politics, wasn't it? But a necessary one. Even though we begin these festivals in a celebratory tone, I've now find myself, having worked fighting big institutions to ensure that they are inclusive, that they are representative, that people can be treated with respect, for 30 years. And then I was asked, "Simon, we like what you're doing. Can you do that to another very old institution?" And I said, "Which one is that?" They said, "Cambridge University." I said, "Where do I sign?" So I find myself in an institution that is 900 years old, that has been an academy of great excellence, but not always inclusive. Sometimes to women, sometimes to people of colour. And too often, elitist. So I'm thinking, what am I going to do in this place? I'm going to do what I've always done. And that is say to a wonderful institution, we can be better than this. We can be bolder. We can be braver in what we do. And so now I head a college, one of the largest, Homerton College. And we have 1,500 students, some of the very brightest in the world. And you will know from your high academic institutions and those in the USA, that when you come to Oxford or Cambridge and you leave with a degree, it's a little bit like winning the golden ticket in Willy Wonka. It is. If you say you're from Cambridge or Oxford, jaws drop. Wow. I'm happy with that to a point, only to a point. I say to my students when we sit there, when we have our grand dinners in the grand halls with the gowns, you will leave with the Willy Wonka ticket, the golden ticket, and people will be wonderfully impressed by it. But I ask you one question. What will you do with it? What will you do with that wonderful opportunity that is being bestowed you? Too often, we're not asking our young men and women, what will they do with their privilege? And in effect, what happens is, they leave and they say, I want the best paid job. I want all the privileges that this education has afforded me. And then nothing changes. We perpetuate a world of inequity, a world order where people are seen less than, including women, by the way, nothing changes. I say to my students, when they're in their fancy gowns and with a world as their oyster, here at Homerton College, we're better than that. I want you to do brilliant things, but not just for yourself. I say to them, if not you, with all this privilege, then who? If not now, then when? And something lights up in their eyes. They're being told, perhaps for the first time in their life, that their life's enrichment, their life's success must be beyond trinkets, must be beyond the Ferrari, must be beyond the big house. Surely, life's greatest riches are, as I said to the gentleman at the front here, I'll remember your name in a minute, sir, is to serve. The greatest riches is to publicly serve. That's what a leader is. Every day, every single day, I wake up, I must say, feeling blessed. Not just because I'm in CHIOS, not just because I'm now a lord or a knight. I feel blessed because I can serve. There's no greater richer. And when you serve, you're serving for others. Let me tell you, the conversation that was had before about this dreadful world order is because we have nurtured leaders whose sole goal is to serve themselves. And in serving themselves, like Donald Trump, like Nigel Farage, like many, many others, they look at society and they try to find the weakest link. They prey on their fear, on their anxiety, not for the greater good, but to win them over for self-interest. And ladies and gentlemen, Commissioner, other politicians in the House, what has been the Achilles heel in the USA and in Europe that wretched politicians are played upon to the extent that we now have Donald Trump? I will tell you, and hear me good, immigration. Fear of the other. If I can plant fear, that you fear in me, for no other reason than the color of my skin, you may say, you are justified to do wretched things. And some of these politicians have seized this moment. I would argue, that's why Donald Trump said on every stage, these immigrants, these black immigrants, these Mexican immigrants, they're eating our dogs, they're eating our cats, they're eating our children. He said all of that stuff was said. And people bought it. And now we have a crazy man in the White House. So he's not only crazy to black and brown people. You saw how we treated the South African president. But he also treated a European like he was a bit of nothing. The way that he hijacked Zelensky in that awful way. This all came from pandering, poisoning our hearts to say these people are no good. These people are our enemy. So when we have this conversation about where is Europe, what are we going to do next, we ought to look at ourselves first. And I look to my students and I tell them, on my watch, you will leave this institution full of hope, full of dignity, that you will be the reluctant leaders that will serve our nation. Reluctant leaders, not people who just want the mic. The people like my dear friend, Dimitra, who want to do. And not do for herself, but for you, for society. Right now, it feels hopeless. And we are consumed with fear. I'm on a Martin Luther King roll now. I'm just feeling the spirit. But I want to say to you, please be hopeful. But you can really only be hopeful if you look into your hearts and your soul and your souls and say, we are better than this. I'm going to speak up like you did. I'm going to speak out. I'm going to ensure that a generation that follow me will not pander to prejudice and do the right thing. Have a wonderful festival. Enjoy every moment as I will. I will drink the sounds and the food and the drink and have a wonderful time. Thank you very much.